Welcome to Heart to Talk, the podcast. I am the host and creator, Theresa Cesare. My intention for this podcast is to deliver to you wisdom, inspiration, and consciousness through solo episodes and conversations amongst insightful people. It is my greatest honor to bring to you talks that come from the heart. Hey loves, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy you're here. I want to open this episode with a question. Are you ready to let go of worrying about how things are going to work out and trying to control every detail of the process? Because today I've got an affirmation for you that has carried me through some of the most uncertain, messy, in-between seasons of my life. It's one affirmation that I still use all the time, and I'm going to share exactly how it's changed me from the inside out. So, this affirmation: things are aligning for me in spaces and places I can't see. Let's say that again. Things are aligning for me in spaces and places I can't see. Anytime I start spiraling and worry, anytime I'm wondering, is this ever going to work out? Or why is this taking so long? Anytime my impatience kicks in and my brain wants to micromanage the entire universe, I pause and I literally come back to my body and I feel my feet on the ground and I take a deep breath and I repeat to myself, things are aligning for me in spaces and places I can't see. The moment that I do that, I can feel my shoulders drop, my chest softens, and my breath and heart rate slow down. I shift from forcing and stressing into trusting and allowing. And here's the magic. When I stop trying to strangle the outcome, that's when the idea comes in, the solution. That's when the opportunity shows up. That's when the text, the email, the phone call, the so-called miracle appears. When you practice trusting more in what you can't see than what you can see, your life just doesn't get more peaceful. You don't just stop stressing as much. It actually starts to genuinely feel magical. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. People and resources appear that you could have never orchestrated with your logical mind. And I'm not just saying that because it sounds like a cute quote, right? I know this because of what has happened in my own life, especially in one of the hardest chapters I've ever walked through. And that's when I actually created this affirmation, is during my divorce. So a few years back, I had no idea how my divorce was going to happen. Like the outcome and when, and I was obsessing over everything. Like, how am I going to afford this? And where is the money going to come from? Which lawyer will I use? How long will it take? There was just so many unknown, fearful factors that were like not in my control. And at that time, I literally had like no savings. I just felt disempowered and fearful and just stuck. But I knew that was a process that I so deeply desired, that I knew would be the greatest outcome for everyone, even though divorce can be just so deeply challenging and sad and there's just infinite words to describe that, and it's different for everyone. But I would lie awake at night, mentally controlling every possibility, outcome, worst case scenario. And all it did was make me feel anxious, powerless, stressed, and exhausted. One day, after yet another round of stressing and overthinking, I reached my breaking point because I started to like physically get sick. And I just remember saying to myself, I can't keep doing this. Like, I have to trust that there is a way, even if I don't see it, even if I don't know how. And that's when this affirmation literally dropped into my spirit. Things are aligning for me in spaces and places I can't see. I started saying it over and over. I made it my mantra. Until this day, it is my mantra, especially in new chapters or when things happen in life that might be a perceived difficulty or challenge or obstacle. I just trust that things are happening and aligning for me in spaces and places that I can't see, right? So I started saying it over and over. I don't know how the money's going to come. I don't know who my lawyer is yet. I don't know when it's all going to be finalized, but I trust things are aligning for me in spaces and places I can't see. And then I let go. I didn't give up. I still, studied and researched a healthy uncoupling and read different books. I definitely still researched, asked around about lawyers, but I wasn't obsessive or stressed because I just let go. And what I like to say, let God. That Wayne Dyer says that. So I let go and I was like, I'm going to let God. And there's a difference, right? So letting go for me meant I focused on my present day instead of obsessing about 6 months from now. I showed up for myself, for my kids, my work, my body, my health. I kept taking, of course, like I mentioned, aligned action where I actually had power, right? Researching lawyers, preparing my energy, doing my healing work without trying to control the entire storyline and the people in it that I couldn't control. Because all I could control is on my end. And it's like, what's going to be the most peaceful, feel good way to do this, right? And then the invisible started to reveal itself. So, literally, like I want to say a week later, a friend of mine reached out and told me about a lawyer who could help me, who had helped her. And he wasn't outrageously expensive. And so I immediately took action. I reached out, made an appointment, and he was so nice and so chill. Didn't even charge me for that one consultation, gave me a quote. And I really felt like, oh my gosh, things are aligning, right? In spaces and places, and it's all coming together. And I don't have to work so hard and obsess. And I just felt like it was like the universe giving me a wink. But it didn't stop there. Let me tell you, again, the more I really just trusted and kept being in that energy, I want to say 2 weeks later, I literally got a Zelle from my brother-in-law with the exact amount I needed to move forward. He left no explanation. I didn't even know, no strings attached. And the memo just said, because you're awesome. Can tell me, is that not miraculous? And meanwhile, I was navigating this very privately. I might have told my sister very minor details, but never even thought about asking people for help. That's something I currently am still working on being able to receive. And that's so important. We want big things in these next level changes, but part of that is allowing not only the universe, God, support from the unseen, the divine, and the mystical, but allowing the people around you to help you. And I allowed it, right? So, uh, where I'm going with this is I could have not even strategized that. It wasn't even something that even dropped remotely into an option that I thought was possible because I was just so focused on th probably the most difficult way to go about it, right? But I couldn't have written that in a planner or mapped it out in a spreadsheet. That was alignment happening in spaces and places that I could not see. And that's why this affirmation is so sacred to me. And I wanted to share with you because every affirmation I literally create that's on my affirmation babe page and in the affirmation card deck that I created literally was born from a moment where I had to choose a new belief, choose a different thought, a declaration. Even at that time, I didn't really believe it, but I knew that if I forced myself to think a new thought that subconsciously that I would reprogram and it would have no choice but to literally manifest at some point. That's one thing because I had seen over time that working. That's why I'm obsessed with affirmations. It's magic, like casting spells. Again, I had to choose. So back to that. And that's why this affirmation is so sacred because I had to choose. Am I going to keep worshiping my fear? We're just so addicted to things being hard, right? Or am I going to trust that there is a bigger intelligence, a loving force arranging things on my behalf? So let's talk about what actually happens to your mind, your body, and your energy when you start repeating this affirmation. When you're stuck in worry, your brain is in survival mode. Your thoughts race, your nervous system is on edge, your body stays tight. You're constantly scanning for what could go wrong. In that state, it's really hard to hear intuition, to notice opportunities, to get good ideas, to find solutions, or to receive. The moment you pause and say, right, things are aligning for me in spaces and places I can't see, you send a completely different signal through your system. You're telling your brain, we are safe enough to soften. We don't have to figure out every detail this second. Your breath deepens, your shoulders relax, your energy shifts from frantic to open. So what happens is you become available, not just energetically, but practically for new ideas, new people, new pathways. Spiritually, something else is happening too. Every time you choose this affirmation, right, or the energy of this trust in the unseen, you're stepping out of, I have to do everything in my own strength based on my own experiences and all the things I've ever known, because that's usually how we operate because we take references from history and past and examples of other people. And we shift that, again, I have to do everything on my own, into I am supported. You're acknowledging that there is a wisdom and a timing beyond what your logical mind can comprehend. You're letting God, source, the universe, whatever language you use into the process. So I want to give you a few practical ways to work with this affirmation. First thing in the morning, number one, when you wake up, before you grab your phone, before you even have conversations with anybody, put your hand on your heart and literally say 3 times, things are aligning for me in spaces and places I can't see. And feel it land on your body. Write it down. The pen to paper power is everything. It just 10x's the magic of your affirmation. And I literally repeat it as often as needed. And interrupt the cycle, number 2. So number 2, interrupt the cycle. Anytime you notice yourself overthinking, replaying worst case scenarios, or trying to control everything, pause, take a deep breath, and repeat the affirmation. Things are aligning for me in spaces and places I can't see. I don't have to worry. And then ask yourself, what tiny aligned action can I take right now? And what can I hand over? Number 3, the evidence list. I love doing this. So at the end of the day, you write down one moment where something worked out in a way you didn't fully plan. It can be small. It could be perfect timing on something, getting the front row spot at the grocery store. A kind message comes through, an unexpected solution, or even an idea, or even honestly, a shift in your mood or energy. And I love doing the evidence list before going to bed. I actually make that my nighttime routine. I'm like, what amazing things happened today, right? And it's just so much fun. And it gets you just almost in that gratitude energy. And you start to focus on the good and what's working. This trains your mind to notice how often things are actually quietly aligning for you. So as I wrap up this episode and as you move through your day, your week, your month, and year ahead, I want you to really take this affirmation with you and also share with anyone you know that you think could benefit, would be open to this. The affirmation, things are aligning for me in spaces and places I can't see. Say it when you get good news. Say it when you get hard news. Say it when you're in the hallway between one chapter closing and the next one opening. Let it be the bridge between your fear and your faith. And if you want daily support with affirmations like this, words that rewire your mind, your energy, your day. Don't forget, my affirmation card deck is here to guide you. They are designed to help you set your energy, your mindset, your words on purpose and literally reprogram your thoughts. Because if you wake up and think the same things, you're going to feel the same way, you're going to get the same outcomes. And new affirmations literally allow you to think new thoughts, feel new ways, and then get new outcomes. Everything starts with you. Changing your inner reality is the most powerful way to change your outer reality. We often are waiting for circumstances outside of us to change, but the power is literally within you, your mind, your affirmations. And guess what? Because you are part of this podcast family and part of my community, if you use promo code podcast at checkout when you go to my website, theresacesare.com, you'll get a 15% off discount. So thank you for spending this time with me. I am so grateful for you. I love you lots. I'm literally sending you big hugs. And always remember that things are aligning for you in spaces and places that you can't see. When you get good news, when you get hard news, when you're in the hallway between one chapter closing and the next one opening. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Please download, rate, subscribe, and share this podcast. Also, be sure to visit my website at theresacesare.com to check out my inspirational merch, connect to my social accounts, and much more. May you continue to be filled with wisdom, inspiration, and consciousness. Otherwise, friends, I will be back for another episode of Heart to Talk.